Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
I want to talk to the Trump supporters for a minute. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you like this guy.
Whatever he does, he accuses everyone else of doing. The man cannot tell the truth, but he combines it with being a narcissist. A narcissist at a level I don't think this country's ever seen.
And my concern is that he would grab up that power and really treat the country as sort of his little bully fiefdom.
Donald Trump is everything I taught my children not to do in kindergarten.
He's been exploiting working Americans for 40 years.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot.
He says he's for the little guy, but he's actually built a lot of his businesses on the backs of the little guy.
You know, Donald Trump the other day said that, it, quote, if he tells a soldier to commit a war crime, the soldier will just go do it.
And I don't think Donald Trump has even read the Constitution, knows what's in the Constitution.
A toxic mix of demagoguery and mean-spiritedness and nonsense.
I just cannot support Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is a delusional narcissist and an orange-faced windbag.
Donald Trump is a con artist.
He doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. He lies practically every word that comes out of his mouth.
I think he's a kook. I think he's crazy. I think he's unfit for office.
Oh, for God's sake.
They all knew. They know now. And yet, hello, everybody. Happy Safe Harbor Day. Did you know today is Safe Harbor Day? Safe Harbor Day is, it's the day for choosing. It's the day that the states choose the slates of electors that they intend to cast their ballots next Monday. Yes. So happy Safe Harbor Day. I don't know who came up with the name, but it's a good one because we are facing Hurricane Fascist. We are facing Hurricane Donald Trump fascism. I mean, we need a safe harbor from this authoritarian dictator. And think about it this way. We're going to have very soon an authoritarian dictator with no authority. What will he do? What will he do? See, once he loses his legal authority, it's not like he'll replace it with any kind of moral authority or any kind of real authority. No, he'll just, use a microphone and his thumbs on the Twitter and Facebook posts, and maybe he'll get the $100 million from Rupert Murdoch to get his own show. So in Rupert's words, they can shut him the F up, except he said it, right? But it's Safe Harbor Day. So what is that? That is the day that the states have to conclude any disputes over their slate of electors. Bad news for Donald, because the states have been disposing of any disputes over their electors as fast as or faster than he can manufacture them. But that does not stop. The reason why I played They Knew is because I wanted to refresh your recollection of what Ted Cruz especially, not just Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio and, Rand Paul and all of them, that they all knew that he was a liar, that he was an autocrat, that he was a bully, that he was going to fundamentally change America into a lawless nation, right? They understood this. And now Ted Cruz last night was on Sean Hannity's show offering to argue Trump's election challenges before the U.S. Supreme Court. I am not kidding. The only good news in this is that Ted Cruz would be the only attorney on Team Trump that doesn't have COVID yet. Jenna Ellis has COVID. Did you know that? Jenna Ellis, yes. Axios and Forbes are reporting that Jenna Ellis has tested positive for the COVID virus after sitting next to and crisscrossing the country with Rudy Giuliani and then attending a White House unmasked Christmas party. So now the Trump legal team is down to Kate McKinnon as Rudy Giuliani on SNL and Ted Cruz. Freaking Ted Cruz.
Fox News has learned that if the Supreme Court decides to take up the case, a high-profile U.S. senator will be arguing in front of the high court. Texas Senator Ted Cruz telling Fox News exclusively, quote, petitioner's legal team has asked me whether I would be willing to argue the case before the Supreme Court if the court grants certiorari. I have agreed and told them that if the court takes the appeal, I will stand ready to present the oral argument. The case being brought by Republican Congressman Mike Kelly and congressional candidate Sean Parnell. They argue no excuse mail-in voting is unconstitutional, so they're seeking to throw out those ballots in this presidential election. Cruz has publicly pushed for the high court to take up the case, and the senator tells Fox News, as I said last week, the bitter division and acrimony we see across the nation needs resolution. I believe the Supreme Court has a responsibility to the American people to ensure within its powers that we are following the law and following the Constitution.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? I mean, they have lost their grip on reality. They've lost any connection to reality, any relationship to reality, at all. I mean, this is just so of course Ted Cruz had to go on Sean Hannity's show last night. Of course he did. He had to go on Sean Hannity's show last night so he could send a message to Texans that he was willing to go to the Supreme Court and argue fraudulent cases, argue cases that are spurious, cases with no proof, cases without evidence, cases that were filed entirely too late. I mean, to have any chance of succeeding at the Supreme Court. But he was there arguing that that's exactly what should happen.
We're seeing across the country lawsuits that are challenging voter fraud, that are challenging irregularities in the election. And in Pennsylvania, this appeal to the Supreme Court raises very serious issues. It raises pure issues of law. And I believe the Supreme Court should choose to take the case. I think they should hear the appeal. And as you noted, the legal team reached out and asked if I would be willing to present the oral argument if the court took the case. And I told them I'd be happy to.
Yes, because they're all dying of COVID. That's why they reached out to you. They're all, I mean, and it's amazing because these are the same people that were tweeting back in August that there is no COVID pandemic. I don't know what Jenna Ellis thinks she contracted. Maybe she contracted a case of election fraud. Maybe it's contagious. That is what Ted Cruz is arguing. I swear to God. He's arguing that election fraud is contagious. And you know, just before we came on the air, we saw that Texas, this is what they were discussing last night on this, faux news show. They were discussing last night, Sean was putting it out there because apparently, they all talk to each other, right? The president talks to Sean, Sean talks to Rudy, Rudy talks to Ted. And so Sean Hannity was suggesting to Ted Cruz that one state ought to sue other states for election fraud. Because in that case, just so you know, you wouldn't have to go through lower courts. If one state sues another state, the Supreme Court has what they call original jurisdiction. So what does that mean? It means you don't have to go through a lower court. If it's state against state, it goes right to the Supreme. Well, it can go to the Supremes. And that is exactly what they did this morning. So you're watching it on Fox News. The president is telling Sean Hannity, Rudy Giuliani is telling Sean Hannity to tell Ted Cruz to file a case where one state sues other states so they can go directly to the Supreme Court. And lo and behold, this morning, Ken Paxton, who's under investigation, he's the Attorney General of Texas, he's under investigation for abuse of his office. Yeah, he files the case. He files a case on behalf of the state of Texas against Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, so that it can go to the Supreme Court. And Ted Cruz, the only person who's not diagnosed with COVID yet, could then go and not a chance. Happy Safe Harbor Day. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.